Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another round of sound. This is the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. I'm Bob Pompeani, your ringmaster tonight, and we have a lot to get into, including the Pirates, who took two of three out of the Washington Nationals, including beating Max Scherzer today. They are 8-6 and have had, you can argue, 14 outstanding starts in a row to start the season. We'll also get into Tiger Woods, one of the most amazing comebacks of all time. He wins his 15th major. Last one was in 2008. We'll get into how good this comeback was, but the #1 topic tonight on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown is the Penguins, who are suddenly down 3-0, and they're going to need a Tiger-like comeback to get back in this series. Here's your panel left to right on your television screen. We have Jason Mackey, outstanding beat writer for the Penguins and the Post-Gazette, Josh Yohe, who does the same good work in The Athletic covering the Penguins, and Tim Benz, who covers just about everything with Trib Live and Pittsburgh Steelers Radio Network. We have a lot to get into, so Josh, I'm going to start with you. Just your take on how it got to this point. 3-0 when I think most people thought the Penguins would win the series. Maybe not easily, but not many people thought the Islanders would win it 4 straight, which is now a looming possibility.
No, Bob, it's been pretty striking, quite honestly. And when I watched the Penguins this afternoon, I saw a team that just has no legs, that looked dead in the water. They've become really one of the slower teams in the National Hockey League, which is hard to believe because, as we know, in 16 and 17 when they won the Cups, they were probably the fastest team in hockey. The Islanders are not that fast of a team. There are teams that are faster, but they have made the Penguins look like a bunch of old, slow men all series. I did not see this coming. I didn't really think the Penguins were a Stanley Cup team this year, but I certainly didn't think they would lose the series. No way did I think they would get swept, and no way did I think they would look this bad. This has been a very, very embarrassing week for the Penguins.
I thought that if the Islanders were to win the series, they'd have to do it in 7, and there might have to be an injury to one of the star players for the Penguins to make that happen, or Murray in net. And it's been everything but that. It's been the exact opposite. I actually kind of liked the Islanders. I just thought the Penguins had what it took to make short work of them and win it in 5, maybe 6. Now, I think the biggest reason why they are in the situation that they are in is because of their utter inability to establish or sustain momentum. If you look at the 3 games so far, the Penguins have yet to score back-to-back goals. They haven't done that yet in 3 whole games. On top of that, if you look at the first game, every time they got even, the Islanders scored the next goal and eventually won. If you look at the amount of time total that they've led in this series, I think it's 3 minutes and 17 seconds. Just look at today. You know, they scored one from Garrett Wilson, of all people, and then what happened? 28 seconds later, the Islanders score, and before it's announced that Wilson scored, the Islanders have already tied it, and I think before that goal was announced, they took the lead. You know, that's been the biggest storyline to me, is how they've been unable to sustain what little momentum they've created in this series.
Well, we could go down the list of stories, honestly. I mean, there is so much here. I'll pick out a couple things that Josh and Tim didn't touch on. But how about the idea of adjustments? A couple years ago when the Penguins were winning cups, Mike Sullivan was probably the best in the league at adjusting to his competition. Where has that been? It's just not a factor whatsoever. Jake Guentzel couldn't not score in the postseason the past couple of years. He's gone MIA along with the rest of the Penguins' top line. The continuance of trotting Dominic Simone out on that top line and also saying that Patrick Hornquist is not supposed to be up there. I don't quite understand that. Patrick Hornquist, since his concussion, has not scored. The Penguins defensively have been kind of hit and miss. I agree with Josh in that they look like a slow team, but I would also point out that in February and March, where this team kind of found its stride, they didn't look as slow. Suddenly, this team just looks like beaten down, almost like they're ready to go home. I was watching them come out for the third period this afternoon, and I mean, it was just sad. They're all down there with their heads down, and they look miserable, like they can't wait to get this thing over. And it's stunning to see this compared to where they were a couple of weeks ago.
It really is. Tim, I want to ask you this. We saw the line change to Simone, and he's only had 1 goal in, I think, his last 34 games now. But for some reason, the team, the coach, Crosby, they want him on that top line. Moving forward, do they have to make more changes here, or is this something they can control simply by not making the kind of mistakes they're making?
Well, I think what they've learned here is whatever changes, whatever tinkering they're trying to do, that's not the answer. I would prefer to not see Simone there because right now it looks to me like the issue with the first line is not finishing. And I don't know why you put the guy up there who doesn't finish to help them finish. That seems counterintuitive to me, despite all of his other positive traits that Simone may have from the metrics community that the Penguins seem fully invested in when they make these calls. Like, you know, I'm beyond the point here of saying, well, the 6th defenseman versus the 7th defenseman should be this guy, and where you put Rust, Simone, and McCann versus other star players like Kessel, Malkin, and Crosby and Gensel. It's Kessel, Malkin, Crosby, Gensel, and Letang that need to be better.
And Bob, let me say this. I think Mike Sullivan's a great coach. I have a lot of respect for him. He's made some very questionable moves in this series. You play a guy 82 games in the regular season, and then you bench him for the first game of the playoffs. I realize Jack Johnson isn't Bobby Orr, but it was a strange decision. I don't know how the message was received in the locker room. I don't think particularly well. So he goes with Ole Mata. He's the worst player on the ice in game one. Today you see Dom Simone out there with Crosby and Gensel. I don't hate Simone. He's not a top-line player. It reeked of desperation. I don't think it sent a particularly good message to the team. I think Sullivan had a great season as head coach, and I think this is a very difficult team to coach, but he has not hit any of the right buttons in this series.
One of the things Sullivan has done, and this is sort of building off of what Josh said too, is he's trying to fix problems that don't exist. Jack Johnson was just fine. Yeah. I mean, up until the Marcus Pettersson trade, I would say it was a little bit rocky, but the past couple months, he's been just fine. He had no reason to sit. And Dominic Simone was actually pretty good on that third line. That was one of their best lines late in the season with Simone, Bukestad, and maybe put Hornquist over there. If you want to use McCann on that top line, I get it. If you want to use Russ there, I get it, although they were bad in the first 2 games of the series. His aversion to Hornquist there is just weird.
Is it his or is it Sid's?
That's the question.
Yeah, I mean, that's the $1 million question, and I don't think anybody in this room knows the answer to it.
The answer is it's Sid. So
Sid doesn't like playing with Hornquist, and we all know.
Well, and the issue that I've got, guys, with that is he doesn't like playing with Hornquist. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but only because Hornquist doesn't have that sort of touch, feel, and speed through the neutral zone. He has to love what Hornquist does down low because that's when they've been the most effective in the playoffs, those two working together. The Islanders don't let you go through the neutral zone anyway.
No, they don't.
And you're going to have to get stuff going down low, which is why it makes more sense than ever to have Hornquist playing with Sid, even though Hornquist is in a slump. Heck, though, Sid is in a slump.
I also have some doubts on whether that's legit, guys, too. I don't know what you've heard, but I mean, I was talking to Colby Armstrong a couple weeks ago and asked him about the whole Sid Hornquist thing, and he's like, "What? What are you talking about? That doesn't even exist." And so I don't know. I mean, there certainly could be people that are covering for Sid. Maybe that's how he feels, and I don't think any of us truly know. I don't think he's ever going to say, "Oh, I don't want to play with this guy." But I'm not sure it's as bad as we all think.
Well, put it this way. I know for a fact Mike Sullivan loves the idea of Hornquist with Sidney Crosby. I don't think Sid hates Patrick Hornquist as a hockey player. I don't think he despises playing with him, but he likes playing with fast guys, right? So I get that, but Simone isn't exactly Carl Hagelin.
It's always been I'm okay with it in the playoffs. Well, now it's the playoffs, and now it's desperation.
That's right.
All right, real quick, I want to ask this before I go to a break. We have more Penguin stuff coming up after the break, and that would be Barry Trotz. How much easier is it for him not having really a superstar to deal with? And I think it was you, Josh, who made mention that the Penguins can be a difficult team to coach. There's no secret to that. We've seen it. But at the same time, you know, John Tavares is gone. There weren't a lot of expectations. He got this group to sacrifice some of their offense personally to buy into what they're doing. How significant is that? Jason, start with you.
Yeah, I think it's very significant in what Barry Trotz has done, and I think there's some similarities to what Mike Sullivan did when he first got to Pittsburgh. They're just doing it kind of different ways. Barry Trotz is essentially slowing down the Islanders, although I don't think they're a slow team. But he's picked one definitive direction and took his team there. Mike Sullivan did that with speed a couple of years ago, and they're not so much that anymore. But I love that what Barry Trotz has done. The Islanders know exactly what they are. They're comfortable playing like that. I don't want to say you check your ego at the door with them, but you're certainly not looking to light it up and score a bunch of goals. They're content playing sort of boring hockey, and a credit to Trotz for getting him to buy in with that stuff.
Yeah, and speaking of Trotz, it's the same game plan as last season when he was the Washington Capitals coach. The Islanders aren't giving up any odd man rushes, just like the Capitals didn't last year. They played conservatively. They waited until the Penguins made dumb mistakes and they counterattacked. We're seeing the exact same thing. It's not like Mike Sullivan's telling his team, hey, jump into the play and give them 2-on-1s. The Penguins are just being incredibly undisciplined. You can't play that way in the playoffs.
I know, Josh, some people have said, boy, Barry Trotz is out coaching Mike Sullivan, and I don't know if that's the case, and if it is, it's because he's not doing anything different. You know, if he's not outthinking himself, and by not outthinking himself, that's outcoaching Sullivan, then I guess he's outcoaching Sullivan. But I also don't like some of the moves that Sullivan has made, and his failure to reach the team to do little things better. Well, Trotz has done that, so I guess if that's the case, then yeah, Trotz is out coaching Sullivan.
When we come back, we're going to talk about Murray versus Robin Leonard. We're also going to talk, is this possibly the end of what has been a majestic run for the Penguins? We'll get into that and more, but now I want to first talk to you about a major move that's been made. The former Kenny Ross Chevrolet and Nissan and Zelianopel are both now part of the #1 Cochran team. This is #1 Cochran's first ever Chevy franchise and Nissan store #4. And right now you get grand opening buy/lease offers, plus an extra $1,000 over Kelly Blue Book for your trade. Only at the new #1 Cochran Chevrolet and the #1 Cochran Nissan Cranberry. Penguin Talk continues right after this. The #1 Cochran Sports Showdown is brought to you by #1 Cochran. Go one better. And by Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. Have a greater hand in your health.